Interesante tu exposición. A continuación tenemos a Johan Ohlsson de Seguridad, Centro de Competencia Marítima y Logística. Desde el año 2007 es miembro de la Confederación Europea de Servicios de Seguridad, COES, organización de asociaciones de 30 empresas de seguridad privada. COES es la única organización europea representativa de empleadores que defienden los intereses de la industria de seguridad privada y es reconocida por la Comisión Europea DG Employment, Social Affairs and Inclusion como un socio del sector social con conformidad de los tratados europeos. COES representa a 21 Estados miembros y un total de 28 países, que entiende a 50.000 empresas de seguridad privada, que emplea a un total de aproximadamente 1.7 millones de guardias de seguridad. Ohlsson es gestor de conocimiento en Europa con respecto a seguridad marítima y logística de Seguridad Europa, Centro de Competencia. Seguridad es uno de los principales proveedores de seguridad en el mundo. Actualmente trabaja en un proyecto europeo del FP7 de seguridad marítima, apoyo, para mejorar la seguridad marítima en puertos europeos. Ha trabajado dentro de Seguridad durante 20 años en diferentes puestos, como gerente de la sucursal, gerente de área, entre otros, relacionados principalmente en la seguridad marítima. Ha sido la persona responsable sobre el acuerdo de Seguridad Stena Line, uno de los operadores de transbordadores más grandes del mundo durante 5 años. Por favor, démosle la bienvenida a Johan Ohlsson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, members of the panel and organizers of the Congress. I'm very happy to be in Peru. I'm happy to be back in Peru. I was asked actually some time ago to speak a little about port security. And when I heard the country was Peru, I was very happy to come back to Peru, to meet some old friends and to speak about port security to you. I'm very sorry. I'm from a country very far north of Europe in Sweden. Securitas is a Swedish company. And my knowledge about Spanish language is very limited due to that. So, entiende poquito, pero habla nada. So, my presentation will be in English. Sorry for that. I hope you will understand. Anyway. Well, I'm happy to be here to talk about port security. And we heard Mr. Frank Boyle and we heard Mr. Juan Carayla speak about port security from their point of view. I will speak about port security in a more practical way, actually. Security is indeed a basic element to an object of critical infrastructure, as a port for sure is. In this environment, it's important to get cargo and passengers as smooth and as fast as possible in a safe and very secure way onto a ship or out of a port. Passengers must feel safe and cargo must be protected, as well as the ship and the procedures in the port. Supplies must be checked and visitors must be approved. These are all, among others, important security tasks. My angle of this presentation will be to tell you something about port security from a security company's perspective and give you some input about port security from our experience, mainly from Europe, but also from other parts of the world. Something short about the company I represent and myself. I'm working as a knowledge manager within Maritime and Logistics in Securitas Special Competence Center. Securitas is one of the biggest security companies in the world. We are now present in more than 50 countries around the globe, and we have more than 300 security officers working with all kinds of security worldwide. And you can see the map, the more black countries, that's where we are present. And we are number 1 security provider in Europe, and we are also number 1 security provider in the US. We are slowly also emerging in South America and Latin America. And including these countries, we haven't got Costa Rica and Jordania on the map. And almost every month there is something going on in this map because we are growing quite substantially. Because because of the fact that we are working with all kinds of security. Not everybody within our company knows, of course, everything about security. Because of that, we have decided a couple of years ago to be segmented, to have a local business according to the needs at every client and in every country where we are present, and also to have a global approach and know-how about best practice in each segment for the benefit of our clients and also each country needs. As we normally say, business is local, but knowledge is global. In general, we are focusing in about 30 different segments, ranging from airport security, events, retail, and others, and each country has a different setup depending on their needs. In Peru, since we are in Lima at the moment, energy, oil and gas, mining, telecom, maritime security, and retail are the biggest segments. And in maritime in Peru, we're working with the north part of Callao, and we are also working with the Paita port in the north of Peru. My position as a knowledge manager within the segments maritime and logistics means that I'm collecting all the best practice know-how we have worldwide to the benefit of our local organizations in every country where we are present. I support them with knowledge in the field of maritime and logistics security. Again, to us, business is local, but knowledge is global. Why invent the wheel over and over again? Maybe there is a good security solution somewhere else in the world where we are present. So these are the two segments where I work among the 30 we have within Securitas. So let's follow. It's already been said a little about this, but let's follow a cargo, a container from one point of loading and then all the way, maybe through a lot of various stakeholders, all the way to the receiver of the cargo. And as you can see, there's a lot of stakeholders in this process, and it's a chain of security. And this is why we don't look at ports especially about security. It's a chain. You have to look at the whole perspective of this. Maritime and logistics means the supply chain. Of course, they are linked to each other, as we can see, and that's why I work with both logistics and maritime. Trade is international, and our aim is to protect cargo and trade worldwide all along the supply chain. And we do it in many different ways with a combination of high technology, track and trace, and man guarding. Of course, the ports play a very important part in this chain. This is one of the facts why security is important to a port and its development and productivity, as this is the theme of this part of the program. It's an international and national interest to protect the trade from being misused by criminals. We live in an international and fast-changing world. What was there yesterday has changed to something else today. The Congress shows the developments you plan the forthcoming years in Latin America, and there are amazing plans, I have to tell you, when I have listened to some of the speakers. But remember, crime and terror is always present. Just think about it. If you would have a thought about something really drastic, what will happen if security and safety, I will come back to that later, wasn't present in a port? Well, it will be chaotic, and it will be for sure a mess. Sometimes you really don't miss something until it's not there anymore. Sometimes I heard that security costs too much because nothing happens, and ports and operators want to cut the security down. Of course, it's just because security is present that nothing happens. Just think of the alternative with no security in place. I think you all will agree that this is not a possible thought at all. This is another picture showing exactly what I showed you before, but now you have the legislation, as Mr. Boyd was talking about. We all know that ports with international trade needs to apply to the International Ship and Port Facilities Code, the ISPS code, and in US, the Maritime Security Act. There are also other security legislation, mandatory and voluntary, to adopt like CSI, CTPAT, IU, BASC, and many others. Some are mandatory, some are voluntary. These legislations are very good and has been of great importance to enhance security in ports. The ISPS code was put in place because of an interest to protect the trade and to protect ships and ports because of terrorism. We all know that there are so many other threats than terrorism in the ports. There could be drugs, illegal immigrants, theft, and organized crime, to mention some of them.